Hello and welcome to the suspensions in round 2 of the AFL season. As we know, Peter Wright threw himself at the mercy of the AFL tribunal on Tuesday night, pleading guilty to the airborne bump that concussed Harry Cunningham. In the end, Harry Cunningham had to be stretchered off the ground, and Peter Wright was charged with rough conduct, which was classified as careless conduct, severe impact and high contact, all elements that Wright accepted, which means that he went straight to the tribunal. Essendon's lawyers didn't try to fight it down to nothing. They were willing to accept a 3-match ban given the 27-year-old. Essendon's lawyer argued that Wright should receive only the minimum penalty as he took steps to avoid more severe impact to Harry Cunningham. But this was argued against by the AFL, and in the end he's been suspended for 4 weeks. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think he should have been suspended for 4 weeks? In my opinion, I think 4 weeks is about right, because as he jumps for the ball, it does look like he's going to try and mark the ball, but he actually makes no attempt at all to put his arms out to catch the ball or anything. He braces himself for the contact, which now we know, the Maynard and Brayshaw thing, you're not allowed to do that anymore basically, so I don't know what he's supposed to do, just not contest the ball. It's really crappy situation, because if he does and put his arms out and cleans him up, but then still contests the ball and marks it or doesn't mark it, then does that mean that this is not a suspension at all? Is the only reason he got a suspension is because he didn't have his arms out trying to mark it and he did turn to the side? I think it's a little bit of a grey area overall, but for me, I think 4 weeks is right. In this clip, we can see Max King late hit on Finlay McRae. This was classed as rough conduct. It was careless conduct, medium impact and high contact, and for this, Max King was given a 1-match suspension, which St Kilda challenged. St Kilda argued at the tribunal that this was accidental contact instead of careless or low impact, and is very close. It's a little bit hard to see, as you can see that Hill holds onto the tackle a little bit longer than he probably should have, and King does come in for a late bump, which arguably should not be done, and as a result of that, of the late hit and Hill still holding on, he does hit him in the head. And I think because of that, because it's a late hit, I think that is the reason why they haven't classed it as accidental, because he has chosen to bump, and therefore it is a intentional hit, which I don't disagree with. So in the end, he's been given a 1-match suspension even after the tribunal, and I think that's probably about right. It doesn't look like a huge hit, but it is still a hit to the head. So in that case, I think that is the correct decision by the AFL, and I think a 1-match suspension is about right. What do you think? Darcy Byrne-Jones has been charged with rough conduct, which was his second offence of the night against James Trezise. This happened in the second quarter. The AFL graded this as careless conduct, low impact and body contact. This means it's a $5,000 sanction, with an early plea can be downgraded to $3,125. Jake Lever has been charged with other misconduct, which was his first offence, for a push on Mitch Lewis, happened in the second quarter. This is a fixed financial sanction of $1,875 down to $1,250 with an early plea. And this one's just a little bit strange to me, because the umpire is clearly right there, doesn't even pay a free kick, but apparently that is still worth a fine. This is probably the most interesting one of the week for me. As you can see, Latham Vandermeer tackles Alex Sexton, and he does get him a little bit high, but it looks like it's in the shoulder. Sexton takes offence to this and he gets up and actually smacks Vandermeer in the back of the head with an open hand, I will admit. But the AFL are always going on about how anything to the head is worth a week. I'm not suggesting that he does deserve a week for this, but it's just interesting to see that this is only a fine. So apparently you're allowed to slap guys in the back of the head, but if you bump them accidentally with a shoulder or brace contact for yourself, it's a suspension. The rules just don't make sense to me. Am I overthinking this too much? I don't think it's worth a suspension, but I think a few of the others also shouldn't be a suspension. What are your thoughts on this? I almost forgot the fines itself, but Tom Liberatore, Aaron Norton, Latham Vandermeer, Alex Sexton, and then later Tom Liberatore again, Latham Vandermeer again, and Nick Holman have all been charged with engaging in a melee, which all got a fixed financial sanction, except for a couple of them which were their second offences. which bumped up the price. In the end, basically they can get away with an early plea of $1,250 for their roughhousing. David Swallow has no case to answer for after he left Western Bulldogs defender Ed Richards concussed, which I think is fair. After you watch the footage, you can see that he's clearly going for the ball. It's just one of those accidental collisions, but that also means that we're not going to see Edwards probably for the next at least 1 week, possibly 2, depending on how he recovers from the concussion. McInerney sling tackles Archie Perkins, but apparently this isn't even worth looking at. You can see it's a slinging tackle. I think last year people were getting suspensions for this, but this one just gets swept under the rug. Toby Nankervis from Richmond has been charged with rough conduct for his tackle on Ivan Soldo. This happened in the second quarter. It was graded as careless conduct, low impact and high contact. For this, it's a $3,750 fine with an early plea can be downgraded to $2,500. Brendan Parfitt from the Geelong Cats has been charged with tripping Jordan Dawson from the Crows in the first quarter. The AFL graded this as intentional conduct, low impact and body contact. With an early plea, this can be downgraded to $2,500. Sam Draper from Essendon has been charged with rough conduct for his late hit on Jake Lloyd. This happened in the second quarter and the MRO graded this as intentional conduct, low impact and body contact. With an early plea, this can be downgraded to $2,500. I guess he's kind of lucky that he did hit him in the back and not in the head. If this was a hit in the head, I think he'd be done for at least a week. The only other thing I could find was Nick Blakey, Justin McInerney, Jai Caldwell and Tom McCartan were all charged for engaging in a melee, and this was a downgraded fine to $1,250. Other than that, that is all the suspensions and sanctions for the round 2 in the AFL 2024 season. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the oddities video hopefully tomorrow. Thanks for watching.